Russell!
It's so good to see you again. I'd offer you a hug, but since you've been gone, there's this thing called the coronavirus. I'm so glad you're coming back to Doctor Who, but I also understand if you're a bit confused. At first glance, it may seem like nothing has changed since you left. The Doctor, after doing 3 seasons, is about to do a few more specials after receiving an ominous warning about the Master. But on the other hand, where did all these women with agency come from? Straight white male villains. This isn't at all like the era you did. How did we go from the end of time to the end of Tim? Well, it's okay. I'm here to help, despite you not having asked for it and almost definitely not needing it. Cue the opening titles.
And now for something completely different.
Say hello, Mycroft. You happy to see them? You happy to see them? Are you happy about? Are you happy about anything, Mycroft? Okay, I'll let you go. I thought I should make this video at least before the new Doctor's announced. Knowing my luck, they've probably been announced while recording this, but oh well. At least I waited until Series 13 was done before I started talking about Russell T Davies. Now, I've kept this particular Christmas wish list vague enough that I imagine 1 or 2 of them will probably come true. Number 1, no returning characters. I have a feeling number 1's probably going to be my most controversial. Yep, we're not having any of the old guys, contrary to what the rest of the internet seems to want. No more. None of this guy. Definitely no more of you. And okay, I don't think Russell's planning to bring him back, but you're not allowed either, for the record. My dog's kind of trying to chase them now. I want this new era to feel like a completely new slate. Start from scratch, new style, new take on the program. The Rusty Davies era is probably my favourite era of the show at the moment, but like many of you, I'm sure I don't just want the same thing all over again. That's not to say I'd be against any characters returning, but there's got to be a limit. We're not partying like it's 2009. I will grant one exception, however. Doctor Who, Series 14, Episode 1.
Hey everybody, I'm back. Bet your nostalgia for the RTD era didn't account for me.
Number 2. Build on Chris Chibnall's work. Oh, did I say number 1 was going to be the most controversial?
Wrong-o.
I, like the rest of the internet, it seems, have conflicted feelings on the current era of the show. Do all of the timeless babies need to go out with the bathwater? There are some things Chris Chibnall has done to the show that I think are good improvements. The continuation of more diversity both behind the camera and in front of the camera would be a nice thing to see, and I'm pretty sure Russell's going to follow through on that. As for how it looks, I can respect Chibnall's era looking more like prestigious TV, but I've mixed feelings on that myself. I feel like when they overshoot the special effects department, it looks all the more glaring when it's trying to look like serious TV. And I don't really like the idea of Doctor Who just looking like everything else, but that's up to Russell. As for Chris Chibnall's plot lines, well, part of that is going to depend on what state Chris leaves them by the time he's done. I imagine a lot of you are hoping Russell will just do what he did to the TV movie when he started and just ignore all of it. The TV movie was a good long while before the revival started, and we're not quite in that position at the moment. It was literally just last season we were dealing with this stuff. Maybe he'll find it more jarring to just do a complete soft reboot. Maybe he'll get an interesting story out of all the plot strands Chris leaves behind. Who knows? At the end of the day, it's up to him. Some of my fellow unbiased critics have laid out that if the next Doctor is anything but a white male, we might as well give up on the second Russell T Davies era right then and there.
One of his first responsibilities will be to decide who takes over the TARDIS following Jodie Whittaker's exit, and this will be our chance to make our first judgment call. If it ends up being anything other than a straight white British male, and no, not because we have something against other groups, it's because this is what the Doctor was for 12 regenerations, then there's no point holding out hope any further.
While this is of course completely reasonable, The only problem with these narrow parameters is that they simply aren't narrow enough. We need to give Russell a set group of characteristics for him to stick to. Number 1, no blonde doctors. It's a recipe for disaster. No gingers either, obviously. Number 2, no doctors with long hair. Again, complete recipe for disaster. These actors, no matter how good they are, if they have long hair, nuh-uh. Number 3, preferably he dresses in dark clothing, this doctor. Number 4, bluish eyes. I think that's fair to say. Number 5, he should speak with an accent that everyone keeps telling him sounds posh but isn't really. Using an AI, we've managed to generate a picture of what this potential next doctor could look like. Ooh! Oh, yep. I was looking forward to this one. Angry, political Russell is the best Russell. You know this, I know this. And right now, we need more of that. This is one I'm fairly confident we're gonna get. Since leaving Doctor Who, he's done It's a Sin, years and years. Some of it even building on stuff he did late in Doctor Who, like Sound of Drums and Turn Left. I want Russell to reach through the screen, grab me by the lapels, and scream in my face about how doomed the world is. I am a happy man who thinks very happy thoughts. And finally, an engagement with Stephen Moffat's work. I don't think this is going to be the most controversial, but I imagine it'll be a little bit up there. I've got quite a few videos planned that talk about a lot of the interesting ideas Moffat put forward and how he definitely deserves a bit more credit than he gets. There's a video essay for The Witch is Familiar that I'm hoping to get out by Christmas Eve, so if you're interested in that, there's that subscribe button. Oh god, kill me. But in all seriousness, every era is usually a reaction against the previous one, and sometimes they'll address what's gone on in the previous run to try and make some kind of point. Moffat definitely did this, tackling Davies' take on the character as a lonely god, or critiquing the fate of Donna Noble in Series 4. The Chibnall era hasn't really done this as such. It's referenced the Moffat era at times, but at other times it's kind of ignored it whenever convenient. That's not to say they had to have the same outlook and the same approach as Moffat did, but it's not really engagement. This isn't me going back on what I said in point 1, by the way. I don't really want any particular characters from Moffat's era back, while it would be nice to see Matt Smith or Peter Capaldi again. More just an engagement with the ideas that Moffat had, even if you don't agree and you just want to make a point about why you disagree with his approach. How likely we are to get this, I'm honestly not sure. It's been years since Moffat left, so maybe Russell will leave it. Stephen did address some of the things that Russell did and critique them, so maybe Russell will lay out a defense for some of those things. Maybe Russell will adjust his approach accordingly. Or maybe he'll critique some stuff that Moffat did. In general, I consider myself more of a fan of Davies' approach, but I find the ideas that Moffat had really fascinating. To see Davies' approach to some of Moffat's themes and points of interest, I'd be really fascinated to see what could come of that. So here we have it, my Christmas wish list for the second Russell T Davies era. Honestly, who gives a flux? No one's gonna be able to predict what Russell's gonna do. This is the man who gave us green alien farting prime ministers and the entirety of Midnight. So, I've wasted everyone's time. Again. Sorry about that. Here's that other guy. Okay, maybe that list of characteristics was a bad idea. So, using the traits that we have designated as normal and not woke, straight, white,
Male.
here is what the AI has given us this time. That's right, Russell. If you do not hire any of these young stars to play the next Doctor, then quite frankly, your franchise is doomed. It's doomed.